Hey guys, it's Matt. I finished watching Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School just a few days ago. I've seen it, I don't know, 15 times, of course, over the years. I quote Lou all the time. And you come to that scene where it's that final oral exam to stay in school because all the teachers think, well, they don't think he was cheating. He was hiring people to do his homework. It was the final oral exam, and Sally Kellerman. Do you remember the poem, Thornton, Do Not Go Gentle? And he quotes the poem, Do not go gentle into that rage, rage against the dying of the light. And I'm watching this going, okay, it's one of these poems we read in seventh or eighth grade. Seventh or eighth grade, they threw a lot of poetry, a lot of total crap our way in middle school. I remember reading it, and we covered, there's going to be some Notnilc stuff here. There's got to be some, not because it's in back to school. There's got to be some Notnilc stuff here. So this morning I'll take a look at it. Maybe it's a possible video, and Jeff will tell you what happened. Oh, here come the 1933s. Here comes this and that and all the irony. And okay, there's a whole video here, of course. Is anybody surprised? This strange, bizarro world. Here we go. Now, putting the Rodney Dangerfield movie aside, assuming the people we're talking to have never seen it, 95% of the people on the street would say, oh, yeah, I know. I've heard that poem, or we covered that in high school. Oh, yeah. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. But that same 95%, including myself, you say, well, who wrote it? They would go, they have no idea. I had no idea. They would say, Walt Whitman? No, not Walt Whitman. So I was watching Back to School. I thought, who wrote this poem? I've got to look into this. Dylan Thomas. Who the heck is Dylan Thomas? So I go out to Wikipedia to take a look, and there's a lot there. I mean, section after section, reference after reference. Here's a picture of where he was born. Here's a picture of where he went to school. And then, you know what, I'm jaded to think. I'm kind of conditioned to think this at this point. Maybe it's not fair in some instances, but I thought this person was very important, still is very important to Notnilc. When the Wikipedia is this huge thing with all these entries, and I thought, oh boy, this person is important to Notnilc. And then is that commensurate with the work? The work to me is more like a Humpty Dumpty or a stuffed Lennon or a potential truth drop. But overall, we'll start with this. It's just not that good. It really isn't, to propel him into superstardom. And I looked and thought, well, let's just see where the irony starts. This poem, top 5 poems that the modern era would associate with death. And he only lived to age 39. So a top 5 poem, probably top 2 of the modern era about death. The poet only lives to age 39, had all sorts of illnesses, ailments, huge drinker, partier, etc., undiagnosed conditions. They're not even sure how he died. Pneumonia. Was it due to drinking? Only lived to age 39. I looked and thought, what's his second most famous poem, this poet that only lived to age 39? And death shall have no dominion. Really? 1937 was Do Not Go Gentle into that good night. Then in 1943, and death shall have no dominion. All you got to do is write something every 6 years to be prominent and famous. And this poem, folks, is only 3 of these paragraphs. The third one is cut off. You call them stanzas? I don't know. I slept through that section of my Juilliard training. It's only one more of what you see, whatever. I'm just calling it a paragraph. Call me ignorant if you want. So you just got to write 3 paragraphs every 6 years? And okay, Do Not Go Gentle in that good night. By the way, if anybody is really lost out there, that's about death. And this one's called 6 years later, and death shall have no dominion. But he did go gentle. He might not have gone gentle in that good night, but he went into that good night at age 39. What's the 3 nines mean to the Notnilc? And death shall have no dominion. It had a lot of dominion over his spiritually broke ass. Look at this, what I just came across. The year before he died, this poem is 1952. He died in 1953. Again, only lived age 39. More death poetry. A refusal to mourn the death by fire of a child in London. Again, the irony is, I just knew it. Jeff will tell you, as you do this research, you expect certain things. All this focus on death, he probably lived to be 25, 39. Okay, or there'd be something strange in the Wikipedia. It's not the most monumental, exciting thing of all time, but let's look at the poem. To me, it's just not that good. Okay, I guess I've been too long into this video about Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, not to look closely at the poem. We'll go through this quickly, guys. I know poetry is not the primary goal and objective of most people that listen to my videos, but we have to get through this. It's very short, and it's not that good. So the poem is just this screenshot and one more just like it. That's it. It is not very long. We'll look at it to see why the Notnilc is so in love with it. Is it a stuffed Lennon or a Humpty Dumpty? Are there any truth drops? I'll do this in the style of Rodney Dangerfield giving his final oral exam to his English Professor Diane. Thornton, do you remember when we looked at the poem Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night? He's tired. I don't know. I don't know. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Okay, old age should burn and rave at close of day. The poem, of course, is about hold on to life and push back against the grim reaper when he comes knocking. We all know that. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. I don't understand none of this. Do you? Let's look at this for just a minute before we go to. There's one more screenshot just like it. Good men, the last wave, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. What the hell does that mean? So as a poet, you just make any old shit up, and then you just pawn it off as being intelligent, and you go to superstardom and fame. I don't know. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Let's look at the middle. Because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into the... Well, if they're wise men, why didn't their words fork lightning? It just don't make no sense. This is just hogwash so far. Let's look at the last screenshot. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way, do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay, rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So here we got wild men. In the middle we got grave men. At the bottom we got my father. On the back page we got what? Wise men. We got good men. Where are the women? This guy is a misogynistic pig. There's no women mentioned. 4 references to men and then his father. What about your mother? Oh boy, he cares about his father going into that good night or that light or whatever. What about your mother? Oh boy, this guy's really starting to piss me off. Let's look at the Wikipedia for just a few minutes to see what we could learn or laugh at. As I mentioned, guys, it just goes on and on and on. I'll scroll down in a bit, but when you have this much information on Wikipedia, typically that person was extremely important to Notnilc. You think somebody could be fighting against Notnilc with ideas of expression and imagination that hurt the Notnilc, and there would be this much on Wikipedia? It's just impossible. It's an axiom that's never been broken. 1914, 1953, age 39, died. Dylan Thomas, you'll remember forever because now you're associating with Danny Thomas, who was an actor who founded St. Jude. Danny Thomas, Dylan Thomas, but don't confuse the two. Came up with the works included the poems Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night and Death Shall Have No Dominion, and died at age 39. It had dominion over him, as well as the play for voices under Wormwood. Milkwood. He also wrote stories and radio broadcasts such as A Child's Christmas in Wales. How horrible. Children have to go through Christmas in Wales, that wretched place. And a portrait of the artist as a young... what does it say? Portrait of the artist as a young dog. Oh my goodness. He became widely popular in his lifetime and remained so after his death at age 39 in New York City. By then he had acquired a reputation, I bet, which he had encouraged as a, quote, roistering, drunken, and doomed poet. See, one of the key things we need to accomplish in part 2 guys, the work is that Notnilc has a very ironic script planned for you. Your job in life is to do everything you can to break the ironic and sad script that it wants you following. Just like this guy fell into that trap. Dylan Thomas was born in Swansea. That's in Africa. In 1914, leaving school, let's see. He came to be appreciated as a popular poet during his lifetime. Well, that's a Pootie Tang Award. We know that. Tell me something I don't know. Life and career. Here we go. Early life. The birthplace. They got to show the birthplace. Was he born in that upper window? The Notnilc loves this, as we've been talking about recently. If it shows the birthplace, that person, you think they think there's going to be a Wikipedia page for Matt McKinley when it's all over? Oh, this is where he played in Kingswood Apartments in King of Prussia. They're going to show pictures of my playground? No, there won't even be a goddamn entry for Matt McKinley. Hopefully not. If there's a gigantic entry, I did wrong. But then they might use that as reverse psychology, if you see what I mean. 1921... Thomas's father chose. Why do we care why he chose the name Dylan? Who cares? His childhood, whatever. He played with himself. Oh, here we go. The main surviving structure of the former Swansea Grammar School. Okay, got to show where he went to school. Oh boy, how many? There's actually some tourists that actually showed up to that place. We want to see where Dylan Thomas went to school. Oh no, we're doing this together, guys. I don't look during his. Does it look like I have this? Does it sound like I have this pre-planned out? During his final school years, he began writing poetry in notebooks. The first poem, 27th of April, 1930, is entitled "Osiris, Come to Isis." Oh no. I knew I knew this shit would start coming. Guys, Matt, you looked at it. I didn't look at it. It's shit. When you smell Notnilc, it just keeps stinking up the place. I'm not going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, but the first poem, Osiris comes to. That's all you need. Come to Isis. That's all you need to see. Matt, maybe that's why he became very important to Notnilc. He got Notnilc's attention writing something, maybe. Or who knows? In 1931, when he was 16, he left school to work for the South Wales Daily Post. What a rag that publication is, the Southwest Daily Post. You should be ashamed of yourself. On the stage, YMCA, it's fun to stay at the YMCA Junior Players. Oh, boy. Matt, it's not very good or professional or even exciting or entertaining if we do this on the fly. Oh, no. London, 1933 through 19. From 19. We got to see what happened in 1933, guys. From 1933 onwards, poet Victor Newburgh edited a section called "The Poet's Corner" in a British newspaper in the Sunday Referee. This isn't very exciting. It said 1933. What'd you expect, Matt? The following year, okay. His marriage, that's really important. Let's see the picture. Let's see your picture. Oh, boy. There he is drinking again. And that was his beautiful wife. Okay, well, enough of this. I thought there'd be a few things here, and there were. Looking at the poem here in its entirety, I'm wondering if the Prison Planet people or the Soul Trap people have ever done an in-depth analysis of this poem, because it's very much in support, I think, of their position. Rage against the dying of the light. Don't go into the light. Is the way I would define that. If I had to put his poetry into my prose, you put your chocolate into my peanut butter, and then do not go gentle into that good night. My prose to that poetry, to his peanut butter, would be, don't die, man. You're going to go into a light trap and recycle back. Have the Prison Planet and recycled Soul Trap people embrace this? They should. Now, just looking at the structure, though, it must be some sort of Humpty Dumpty or stuffed Lenny. Well, Matt, does that mean there's really a light trap? We'll get to that. I'm not really concerned at this point. Let's continue to make fun of it, all right? The structure is very rudimentary to be one of the most famous poems of the 20th century. Say if you submitted this poem like Ralphie to your second or third grade teacher, then you got to C+. C+! I don't care what you wrote about your Red Ryder BB gun, shoot your eye out. C+! If you gave this to your second grade teacher, the second grade teacher would write notes in red. Well, Ralphie, you're repeating lines every other stanza. For example, the bottom of stanza 1 is rage, rage against the dying of the light. Then at the bottom of stanza 2, do not go gentle in that good night. Then you repeat, Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Bottom of 3. Bottom of 4. Do not go gentle in that good night. Bottom of 5. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Then you combine them in some horribly rudimentary poetic ruse. You combine them both, do not go gentle, and rage, rage at the end of the poem. Ralphie, this is no more than a C plus. And then look what you've done. Second paragraph, wise men. Next one, good men. Next one, wild men. Next one, grave men. C plus or D minus. Hey, Tommy, way to go in that D plus, because you don't mention any women. The teachers of today would mark it down just for that. Grave men, wild men, good men, wise men. What about the other types of men? What about the types of women? What about the they, thems? Okay, Matt, let's be a little bit arrested here before this breaks down. I hear you. Okay, so there are 6 stanzas or sections or paragraphs. We determine the meaning of each of the stanzas or paragraphs, then collectively see what the entire poem means. So let's do that together. The first part is very, very simple. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. You old when you get old and you just want to sit there and do your crochet, crewel work, macrame, whatever, you get up, you party. Well, you old bastard should burn and rave. Party at the close of day. Don't just sit there and watch your TV shows and your reality TV. Get out there and do something. That's basically what it's saying. And don't go die off easily, you old bastards. That's what it's saying. The second paragraph. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. This is a repeating theme. Each group is a loser. That's what this is saying. Wise men, they know, the end is coming. They know the dark is right. They know they understand death. But their words, the words of the wise men, this is the key, had forked no lightning, which means they thought they were wise, but nobody paid any attention to their bullshit. It's like the professors in most universities. Their words had forked no lightning. They were wise in their own minds. They were losers. Each group is a loser, as you'll see as this goes forth. And they'll say, because you were a loser, don't go gentle in that good night. Accomplish something before you die, you creepy bastard. That's what it's saying. Third paragraph. This isn't a joke. It might be kind of funny, but it's not. I'm not going to misinterpret this just to make a joke. Good men. Okay, this group failed too. You'll see. The last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds. The deeds of the good men just again wasn't good enough. If they were good deeds, they would have danced in a green bay, but they weren't, it's saying. Now you guys don't go dying off because you didn't accomplish shit. You good men didn't accomplish anything, so don't go gentle. You got to accomplish something. You failed too, good men. Next one. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and they learned too late. They grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. So the wild men, they caught the sun, but they learned something too late. I think it's talking about their own mortality, I believe. They thought they'd live forever, and they party, and they learned too late, and then they grieved that the sun will set along with themselves. They grieved it on its way. I think that's what it's saying. We don't know exactly what the wild men learned too late, but it doesn't much matter, does it? See, this is another group of losers because they learned it too late. Every group's losers. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Grave men near death. Well, that goes without saying. That's that movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, A Few Good Men. He said, you think, Colonel Jessup, were those men in grave danger? Was there any other kind, or is there any other kind? Well, yeah, Jack Nicholson was saying, well, yeah, grave danger, is there any other kind? That's like a Pootie Tang award. Grave men near death. It goes without saying. One goes with the other. Who wrote this? Who see with blinding sight, or they have certain visions because they're so close to death. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. He wrote, with blinding sight, blind. You don't use it, Mr. Thomas, you don't use the same word, just 2 out of 3 words being the same words. That's a second grade tactic. Blinding sight, blind. That's what Ralphie would do. That's terrible diction. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Not really. See, Mr. Thomas, they're near death. Gay doesn't mean what you Generation Z and millennials think here. It means happy. Means, party and stuff. And they can't do that because they're grave men near death. This whole paragraph should be removed from this entire poem. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Here, the father's obviously old and sick. Okay, and father, used to be a bastard, but curse, you're with your fierce tears. What was once a curse to me, now because you're going to die off any week now I want that back. Now bless me with your fierce tears and your shitty attitude. What was shitty to me as a kid, now I kind of covet. That's what this is saying. And even so, the father was a real bastard, and even the son saying, "Don't go gentle in that good night. I'll miss your wicked ways." Basically what it's saying. Hopefully the father wasn't abusive to Mr. Thomas. But okay, what we notice right off the bat, I should teach a college class on this. Guaranteed to be better than this loser down here in Villanova University. Each group didn't quite get it done. Each group is losers. Wise men, their words had forked no lightning. Losers. Good men who have frail deeds. They could have danced to Green Bay. Losers. Losers. Now, the theme here that emerges before all others is your poet or your author doesn't want any group in the world to die. Wise men, good men, wild men. It's a short poem. He said, I'd like to name every single type of men in the world. Well, what about the women? I'll leave them for another poem. He's saying to everybody, don't die because you didn't get it done in life. He's saying that. He thinks you think you got it done. You didn't get it done. You need to accomplish something in this life. And here we go again with the materialism. And what you do in the body is of utmost importance. That's the way I interpret it. Oh, stay here. And when you have your near-death experience under the ice, then you do what the Archon says. I don't know. Go back into a body or whatever. In what the converse or the antidote to all of this is to not be a man or / woman in any classification. I'm not a good man. I'm not a wild man. I'm not a grave man. I'm not a wise man. Whatever. I'm not a man. I'm not what you say I am. I have no classification, and I have no regrets. It's that same thing we've talked about a million times. I don't have any need to rage against the dying of the light because I have complete confidence that I'm not going to do this again. I'm not coming back, and I have no regrets, and I wasn't a loser in my material exploits. That's what this is saying to a degree. Even his father at the bottom, that mean bastard, he wants him to know. Nobody should die that's why the Notnilc's so in love with it, because it's a karma poem. It piles on karma. Not that I think karma is this thing out there that needs to be overcome, but if you believe it, you may manifest it on yourself. First stanza is just in general, you old people, you better not go too easy because you didn't get it done. Then it gets into specifics. Second paragraph or stanza, wise men, your words fork no lightning. You didn't get it done. You got to carry that karma into death, you poor bastards. Good men, your deeds were frail. Oh, good men, you think you were good men. Your deeds were frail. Carry that karma into death. You better push back and rage against the dying of the light because you didn't get it done in life in your materialistic lifetime. Wild men, you learned too late, you bastards. And again, the second to last paragraph, which is the most famous, is so terrible it should have been removed from the poem entirely. Grave men near death. Okay, it's the same thing. Who see with blinding sight. Oh, they have visions or something because they're so close to death, whatever. Yada, yada, yada. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. How are they good? Why should they rage against the dying of the light? They're grave men very near death. Why? I'm going to push back. I can get another week out of this body. Why? What's so wrong with death? Well, that's the main theme we haven't even talked about. Oh, death is so horrible. Rage against it. Why? The rule of opposites. If this Notnilc device is telling you how horrible death is, then per the rule of opposites, you know it's just the opposite, at least for the real spiritual being. I don't know what happens to the NPC or something that serves George W. Bush or something like that, but it's the opposite. Rage against it. Why? Okay. If it's my time, it's my time. It's okay. Big deal. So what? I don't die. I'm an eternal being. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. No, they're near death. They're grave men. They can't be gay again. What are they just supposed to close their eyes and imagine they're in a ball or something in the HBO show The Gilded Age? What are you talking about? The most famous paragraph, again, should be completely removed. This isn't even C+ worthy in Ralphie's classroom. And then at the bottom, okay, let's just wrap this up. My father, there on sad height. That means he's really in bad shape, the poor bastard. And then curse, comma, bless me now. This poet doesn't even know how to use commas. Curse, bless me now, not curse, bless me now. There's no need for the comma after bless. Who graded these papers? Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears. So what was once a curse, his poor attitude and his molesting ways, what was once a curse is now a blessing, because I'm going to miss you as you go off into that good night. Overall, I rate this poem a D-, not even Tommy's D+. It should have never made it past the first submission if it wasn't a Notnilc stuffed Lennon or a Humpty Dumpty. It should have been forgotten about the next week, just like the dumb little Humpty Dumpty rhyme. And if the Prison Planet or Soul Trap people want to latch onto it because it obviously says don't go into the light, I think that's rather rudimentary, and that's not what's being said here. Thanks for listening.